Although The Walking Dead was once a critically acclaimed darling, the show has become a bit of a horrifying zombie itself, even to its longtime fans. So just why is nobody watching it anymore? Hi, I'm Jacob with Cinematica, and this is Then vs. Now, The Walking Dead. And before we get started, remember to subscribe and click the bell icon to become a part of our notification squad. And of course, there's gonna be some spoilers for The Walking Dead ahead. Now, let's get started. What happened, and what's going on? When The Walking Dead originally premiered on Halloween in 2010, the show was revered as groundbreaking by fans and critics alike. Before The Walking Dead, zombie fans had to rely on late-night reruns of Night of the Living Dead or Zombieland to satisfy their decomposing desires. Sure, shows like Supernatural and Buffy the Vampire Slayer were there, but The Walking Dead promised from its first few moments of airtime to be more hard-hitting and brutal than both shows combined. Although the show is still a top-rated cable series in the 18 to 49 age range, The Walking Dead just isn't pulling in viewers like it used to. Let's examine the facts. By taking a look at viewership numbers and ratings, we can identify where things went wrong. The show's popularity absolutely exploded in seasons 1 through 3. During this time, AMC moved the show from the 10 p.m. time slot to 9 p.m. for those on the East Coast. Season 3 also gave us Michonne and the Governor, who is arguably the series' best villain aside from, the walkers themselves. The show's aggressive expansion slowed significantly in season 4 though. Maybe viewers were tired of the prison. But viewership reached its all-time high in season 5 with 14.38 million viewers. This total was a long shot away from the 5.24 million viewers season 1 first brought on. Compare these numbers with another one of AMC's long-running shows, Mad Men, which was reeling in about 2 million viewers, and one can certainly see why the show has endured and likely why it will continue to do so for a long time. Season 5 produced the kind of action fans crave, carefully balanced among meaningful character deaths, changing scenery, and even the potential to stop the apocalypse, and good times were had by all. Even still, viewership has been plummeting over the last 3 seasons, to the point where only 8.28 million viewers saw season 8's mid-season premiere. Still nothing to sneeze at, but that's a loss of over 6 million viewers since the show's glory days. Critics haven't been too happy with the show either. Rotten Tomatoes ranked The Walking Dead at only 60% fresh in season 7. Although the show can't really be that fresh, because they're zombies and then they're never mind. In spite of it all, the show's still killing off key characters, rest in peace Caudill, and crossing others over to its spin-off, Fear the Walking Dead. So now that you know it's not just you thinking that The Walking Dead's gone downhill, what contributed to its downward spiral? No sanctuary. AMC wants you to know that, hey, it's not just The Walking Dead that's losing viewers. In a recent interview, CEO Josh Sapan pointed out the weakening in viewership of traditional TV as a whole as a main reason for some of The Walking Dead's losses. And he's got a point. Due to the growth of subscription-type services like Netflix and Hulu, people just aren't tuning in weekly since we're rewarded with the ability to binge-watch commercial-free, or leave off wherever we want when we watch on our apps, or have the series automatically pause when we fall asleep while watching and then your TV gets all passive-aggressive because you aren't paying attention to it. Only one show, ABC's The Batchelor, saw any gain in viewership between the 2016 and 2017 seasons, and it was a measly 3%. Every other major cable network show saw losses in viewership, no matter how great their content was. Some shows lost over 50% of their viewers in just one season. By this trend, The Walking Dead wasn't far off the average, losing about 15 to 20% of its viewership between 2016 and 2017. However, the show's strongest competition, HBO's Game of Thrones, has steadily gained viewership over the years and has been in existence for nearly as long as The Walking Dead. For example, Game of Thrones' 7th season finished off with an average of 10.26 million viewers and may overtake The Walking Dead's final season 8 numbers. Maybe The Walking Dead can turn it around and continue to lumber on despite the current climate for traditional TV. Days gone by. The Walking Dead, of course, found its gruesome origin in Robert Kirkman's comic series bearing the same title. However, AMC has taken liberties with the source material even from the very beginning. It started with that gnarly gas station scene in which Rick guns down a zombified little girl, and that actually never happened in the comics. Since the series started by doing their own thing, maybe this protects the show from the usual critical analysis print-to-screen adaptations get. While the show for the most part returns to crucial plot points of the comics, it's very apparent that the writers operate with no holds barred. No one is safe, and we mean no one. By taking a comic character's cause of death and giving it to a different character in the show, the writers keep everyone guessing. And this seemed to work out very well when the show was initially fleshed out, but could it also be part of the problem now? Perhaps the biggest deviation of the show was the inclusion of Daryl Dixon. Maybe you've heard of him, portrayed by Norman Reedus. Daryl reigns on multiple lists as by far the most popular character on the series, even more popular than Rick Grimes himself. Daryl's character came to be as a direct result of Reedus' interest in the show. The story goes that Reedus was so adamant about being a part of the show that he auditioned even after all of the roles had supposedly been cast. Little did he know that he made such an impression on Frank Darabont, executive producer of Season 1 and part of Season 2, that Darabont created Daryl's role specifically for Reedus to play. Reedus himself explained that the role was very much his to mold early on, but as Daryl's popularity has grown, others have become more involved in shaping Daryl's character as well. Daryl's character development likely hasn't suffered so much, but he has endured multiple near-death experiences over the duration of the show. At this point, Daryl is tied with Glenn for second place as the character who's been captured by enemies the most, a total of 4 times in case you're curious. Only surpassed by Eugene. As other characters fall around him, Daryl's fan armor seems to protect him from the bloodbath around him. Many viewers thought that Abraham and Glenn's fates may have fallen to Daryl before the Season 7 premiere, hence the "If Daryl dies, we riot" fan campaign. We're certainly not saying that killing Daryl off would have helped the show, he's the most popular character after all, but maybe viewers shouldn't be so certain that Daryl will always make it out alive. Heads up. That being said, when a character appears dead, he or she probably should have actually died. Yeah, I'm talking about the Season 3 Glenn could be, but is maybe, hopefully, probably not dead just under a dumpster tirade in Episode 3. Showrunners made the deliberate decision to show Glenn screaming as guts flew everywhere, fooling fans and critics alike until 4 episodes later when he was revealed to be alive. Prior to that instance, when a character died in the show, they died for real. And the fact that Glenn came back only to be snuffed away in the season finale / next season premiere was considered a cruel and unusual punishment by most. Then there's the matter of the cliffhanger itself. Last Day on Earth. The Season 7 premiere garnered 17 million viewers, so AMC's original plan worked out pretty well, but the show lost 6 million viewers over the course of the month immediately following the premiere. The Season 6 Glenn is dead scare made his actual death seem cheap after all of the false drama. As the comics predicted, Glenn's death was insanely gruesome and gory, Abraham's as well, though his death occurred in a different manner in the comics. In live action, the deaths and the massive amount of gore shown on screen proved too much for some viewers, even for longtime fans of the show. The man playing the murderer himself, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, admitted that he wasn't sure that the close-up on all that gore was completely necessary. Sure, Rick's group has endured some tough times before, but Season 7 seemed to bring absolute hell. Despite Daryl's seeming invincibility, he underwent a significant mental change after enduring Negan and the Savior's torture. Similarly, Rick was completely demoralized by Negan's rule, even though he's overcome a lot. While this development may have been necessary for the plot advancement and the inevitable uprising of Rick's group against the Saviors, it might not have sat well with the viewers. A lot of risk for little reward. Speaking of Negan, a lot of viewers don't seem to like him, and not just because he's a villain. It's not that Jeffrey Dean Morgan's portrayal of Negan is the problem, because he's pretty spot on when it comes to the comic version of Negan. It's just that the whole monologuing, cartoony, mustache-twirling sort of villain doesn't work as well on screen at this point. Threatening though Negan is, his odd leather jacket-bound and crazed swagger comes off more like a goober and less like a villain. Calling Lucille a vampire bat in the middle of killing off a major character, it's just a little too much. Winding Negan's character up over the course of 2 years instead of disposing of this plotline quickly also likely caused a drop in viewership, considering Negan is a divisive character, to say the least. Do not send us astray. Another factor causing fan outrage is the composition of episodes in recent seasons, focusing solely on one part of the group per episode as the group itself completely splintered and then came back together again. This composition tends to slow development down, and if fans don't like a particular character, forces them to endure said character and said side plot for an entire hour, only getting a break in the following week's episode. Season 8 did a little better job keeping with a more linear structure, though some episodes did feel disconnected from the main plot. AMC indicated that the Season 8 finale is going to round off several storylines that have been developing since the show started, allowing Season 9 to be a clean slate of sorts. Morgan has said his final goodbyes to the original show, and though we'll miss having him, he'll be carrying on in Fear the Walking Dead, which AMC is hoping will bolster the spin-off's ratings and the original's viewership as well. Thanks for watching Then vs. Now, The Walking Dead edition. Will the prospect of new beginnings in Season 9 be enough to bring viewers back? Why do you think The Walking Dead has become a bit of a zombie itself? Let us know in the comments below. And if you liked what you saw today, make sure to click that bell icon to become part of our notification squad. Once again, this is Jacob with Cinematica, still grieving Glenn.